friends, I hope you're doing really well and welcome back to another video. I'm really excited for today's video because I'm going to be traveling to Spain in a couple of days, so I thought it'd be fun to take you guys along with me. It's going to be a girls trip to Malaga and I haven't seen some of these friends in years. We all went to the same school, so it's going to be a really lovely reunion. Currently it's Thursday and I'm flying out to Spain on Saturday morning. It's a 6 o'clock flight, so I'm gonna have to leave super early, but I'm currently in the middle of deciding what to take on the trip. I only get a carry-on. It's going to be really minimal packing. So this is the rucksack that I'll be taking with me, and this has to fit basically the bulk of everything I'm taking. This is just my everyday rucksack, but it's from Muji. We got it back in Japan a couple of years ago now, and this keychain was a little gift from my sister-in-law Betty, but I'm actually wondering if I should swap the keyring out for this little guy. I bought this at the Ghibli pop-up back in December maybe in London. It's the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro, and it's so cute. It's like a little coin purse actually. I've been unsure as to where to put this guy, so I think maybe I'll put it on the rucksack. I'm not sure. I do love the radish. I'll also be packing all of my toiletry in this O-sleeves pouch bag, which I'm very excited to use properly. I've been using it to store all of my bookmarks, but I finally will be able to use it for travel purposes. And then of course I'll be taking, I can't forget my passport. And in terms of books, this time round I'm going to be very strict with myself because I always end up carrying way too much on holiday with me. But I'm currently in the middle of reading Wuthering Heights, but I don't think I'll be taking this with me because again I need to save space. This book is a little bit weighty, so instead of this I am going to be taking with me You Glow in the Dark by Liliana Colanzi. It's a short story collection by a Bolivian author, I believe, and all the short stories are set in Latin America, so I'm really excited to read it, and I'm hoping that because it's super thin I'll be able to get through a good chunk of it whilst I'm on the flights. It's about 3.5 hours each way, I think, from London to Malaga, and I am, to be honest, a little bit nervous that I will finish this and then I won't have anything else to read, but the plan is to go and buy a book as a souvenir from a Spanish bookshop, and this is something that I love doing. It's one of my favorite ways to remember a place, is buying a book from there. So hopefully I'm all set in terms of reading material, and then I'll be taking the book with me with this little book sleeve, which I get a lot of questions about. It's from a brand called Slow Stitch, and my friend I think got it from Korea, so I don't know if it's available online or anything, but that's where it's from. Oh, and one last thing, this is a gift that I'll be taking for my friend Subin because it's her birthday on one of the days we're there together. There's this little shop above a Lush store on Oxford Street in London where they sell poetry prescription pills, and it's the cleverest idea. I had such a fun time browsing through it. They sell all sorts of different poetry medicines. I'm not sure if you can see very well, but this is the one that I got for her. The label is Older and Wiser, and I thought I would get this for her growing wisdom as she turns 26. On the back it says, "For birthday blues, the dread of old age, or for nodding by the fire." I think it'll be really cute on her shelf, and hopefully she'll have a really good time popping the capsules and going through the different lines of poetry. I should really get packing, to be honest, so without further ado, let's get into the video. On Saturday at 3 in the morning, I got ready to go to Gatwick Airport, and Ian was so kind to drop me off in the middle of the night. I actually stayed up all night because I didn't trust myself to get up that early, so I was extremely sleep deprived. In fact, this whole trip I was pretty much sleep deprived the whole time, but it was so worth it. But we soon arrived at the airport, and once I checked in, I decided to grab some hot chocolate from Gales to warm me up. Because the gates weren't opening until around 6, I had a lot of time to kill and I ended up starting my book. Honestly, I was quite shocked by the first short story. It was definitely a lot darker and more violent than a book that I would normally be taking on holiday, I feel like. But I thought the first short story was probably one of the stronger short stories in the collection. Yeah, I feel like overall I didn't love the book, but there are some stories in the collection that have really stayed with me. Anyways, when I saw the sign that the gates were finally open, I made my way over to the plane and I tried to catch some sleep on the flight, but I really couldn't get comfortable, so I ended up doing a bit of reading in the dark. The flight was pretty smooth overall, and once I arrived at the airport, I caught the train pretty quickly to go into central Malaga. Now, up to this point, I didn't realize because I didn't really need it, but once I got off the train, I noticed that my data roaming wasn't working. It wasn't working at all, so I was very much stranded in the middle of Spain. Honestly, this was totally my fault because I hadn't checked before flying out to Spain. I think because I'd had no issues on previous holidays, I just assumed it was going to be fine, but it wasn't, and I was very lost. But everything ended up being okay because I happened to bump into two of the girls on the street, so I'm just really grateful that I wasn't lost for too long. I ended up dropping my bags and then we made our way over to the market to meet our other friends, and this is where we grabbed some lunch together. After lunch, the first activity on the itinerary was to go for a hike at Caminito del Rey, which was a little bit further out, so we hopped on an Uber and made our way there. To be honest, I was half thrilled and half terrified to go on this hike because I really don't like heights, but for the most part I was so distracted by the gorgeous views that I didn't mind how far up we were. The total hike I think was about 3 hours, and it took quite a long time to get back to the city centre because there weren't any Ubers in the area. We were in the middle of nowhere basically. But once we arrived back to the city, we grabbed some dinner, which was an absolute feast. We ended up ordering quite a bit more than we were able to finish, so we had to take some food away. Day 2 was a day trip out to Ronda and Setenil de las Bodegas. We woke up very early to catch our coach to Ronda. This is when I realized that I forgot to bring my book along with me, but that didn't matter in the end anyway, since I was nodding off the entire journey there. My friends and I were joking that I was headbanging because I couldn't keep my neck still. One of the first places we visited at Ronda was Casa del Rey Moro, which is an 18th century house that has a water mine from the 14th century. Now, as you would expect from a mine, it was very far down, a lot further down than I thought it was going to be, and it took a long time getting to the bottom, so we almost actually missed the view because we weren't sure how much further we had to travel. But we eventually reached the bottom, and just like the entire town, the view was incredible. Now, the real trouble was in getting back up, and I didn't film any of it because it took so much out of me just trekking back up the stairs. So when we were finally able to sit down and have a cold drink and eat some lunch, I felt like I could finally breathe again. Soon we were back on the coach, and this time we got off to explore Setenil de las Bodegas, which is a town built into these stunning cliffs. We spent some time admiring the scenery, and of course I had to grab some ice cream. Ice cream is my favourite dessert hands down, so I definitely got my fair share of it during this short trip. Now, day 3 was sadly our final day, so we woke up really early to go down to the beach in order to watch the sunrise. Honestly, I'm not a morning person by any means, even though I want to be a morning person. So I was struggling to get up because I'd stayed up all night reading Edinburgh. I'll share some more details about the book in another video, but the view at the beach was so worth the early rise. Listening to the waves lap on the shore as we waited for the sun to rise from the horizon. It ended up being a core memory for me from this entire trip, so I'll step back and let you guys also enjoy the sound of the sea.
Guys, I see the sun! The sun's up! Hello! Thank you.
It was the most relaxing and peaceful start to the day, and I was quite sad to leave it behind. We had to go back to the Airbnb and pack our bags. At this point, after our checkout, one of our friends had to fly back to England, but I still pretty much had the whole day ahead of me because my flight was in the evening, so the rest of us did a bit of shopping. Of course, I had to visit a bookshop, and I ended up going to Casa del Libro, which had multiple floors. Now, I might have mentioned this in the intro, but buying books from abroad is my favorite kind of souvenir. I love visiting bookshops in other countries, so I asked you guys over on Instagram if you had any recommendations for books either written by a Spanish author or set in Spain, and the overwhelming response I received was that I needed to pick up The Shadow of the Wind, which is a book written by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and I was really thrilled to have found a copy of it at the bookshop. It was actually the last copy available, so I was really glad to be able to take it back home with me. before I knew it, it was time to get to the airport already. I ended up staying at the airport for a very long time because I travelled there with a friend whose flight was about 2 or 3 hours before mine. It did mean though that I was able to get a lot of reading done. So I ended up finishing You Glow in the Dark as well as Edinburgh, which I was reading as an ebook. I basically devoured that book within 2 days on the trip, and it was so good. I want to rave and talk about it, but this video is coming to an end. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next cozy video. Bye friends!